Here we have this quadratic equation. It's h of t is equal to negative 16t squared plus 24t plus 5. Okay, now this is a projectile motion, right? So t represents the time. Okay, so you can imagine in this case, for example, maybe it's a quarterback, right? Throwing a football up in the air. Okay, so the t would be the time, okay, that the ball is in the air, and then h represents the height of the ball. Okay. Now, if you look at this equation, it certainly looks like a quadratic equation, right? So we know that we're going to get a nice U shape, but it's also negative, right? Just think about that. Okay. This parabola is going to look a little something like this. Okay. So this would be essentially 5, right? 0, 5 here. Think about what this represents here, right? This would represent the time when the ball hits the ground, right? So this quarterback is throwing the ball up in the air. So the ball is going to hit the ground here at some time t. But what does this point here represent? Okay. So at this particular moment in time, right, the ball has reached its maximum height. Okay. So how are we going to find this guy? How are we going to find this coordinate, right? So remember, the x coordinate, or in this case, the horizontal axis is time, right? And then the y value, or the vertical coordinate, would represent the height. Okay. So we can still use this value of negative b over 2a. Okay. Now, we're really finding t, right, not x, but it's sort of the same thing here, right? So we're going to find negative of 24 over 2 times negative 16. Okay. Negatives do cancel out, so we get 2 does go into 24 12 times. We got 12 over 16, which is 3/4. Okay. So what does that mean? It means after 3/4 of a second, right, the ball should be at its maximum height. Well, what is that maximum height? Okay, well, we just plug in this value, right? Y is going to equal h of 3/4. Okay, so we want to plug into 3/4 here. And then once we do all the math, that should give us the maximum height of this ball. Okay, so we'll do the order of operations. 3/4 squared is 9 over 16. This one, 4 does go into 24 6 times. And we get that plus 5. Now you notice it turns out pretty good here, right? The 16 does cancels out, but it's negative. So we get negative 9 plus 18 plus 5, which gives us 9 plus 5, which is 14. So what does that mean? It means at 0.75 seconds, or 3/4 of a second, right, the ball reaches its maximum height. Right? So the maximum height in this case is going to be 14 feet.